Yo, what's up, Mr. 72? Good afternoon, my friend. Just popping the chat out, getting ready. We're going to break down some fun stuff here. As soon as I figure out how to do this influencer stuff. Oh, that's not what I wanted. There it is. Now I can see the chat. Usually put them up here. Good evening, my friends. What's going on, Brian? Serge, what's up? What's going on, Eggs? Good day? Awesome. Happy Sunday, Mr. Crypto P. It is Happy Sunday. It's a good day every day you wake up, my friend. Every day we wake up, it's a good day. Hey, Sphinx, what's up, dude? I think it was Paul. Was it Paul Walker? It might be a different quote. It might have been Paul Walker. Fast and Furious Paul Walker that passed away early. He said, somebody laying in the hospital on their deathbed the same age as you is praying for the chance you have today when you wake up. Don't waste it. I really like that one. I read something very similar to that. It's really cool because I personally know lots of people struggle through that life, and man, some young people unfortunately get taken from us so way too early. It's always better to have that positive mindset getting up. I haven't seen charts in a little bit. Oh, way too much work and running around here. We're all done with that. But we got the coffee. We're good. 3:33. Hey, hey. Love it. What's up, Joel? Quite the push right now, yeah. She's cooking. I mean, remember, it's all about potentials, hype, fear, greed. All right? Whenever we see in the market gets reflected off the news that gets released by the Trumpster and every other crazy human being. So when they potentially, quote unquote, want to stop slowing on the tariffs, potentially, remember, so that'll come back. Oh, that was the right side. That'll come back to bite us most likely. Not most likely, it will. We got quite the 3-up. Let's talk a little about patterns here today, guys. Let's hop in. I got one thing to go over that's new. We're going to talk a little bit about last week's kind of movement here, and we didn't really get too much time to do recaps with all the other businesses and all the other junk we got going on here, but we'll cover a little ES, a little SPY here, go over some potentials because we're going to want to know where the market is headed. But even though we already made videos on this, it's always good to redo a little bit, refresh. I think. Wait, if I pause this. Yeah, it works out. And then after a little stream, we'll get some futures going on, hopefully. Yeah, it's only 3:30. We'll talk for an hour, hour and a half. Maybe we'll take a small break. Probably not. Pretty easy to get to 5 p.m. and then play the first half hour, give away some cash money, some Topstep accounts, or whatever you want to do with it. What's up today? Ideal life it is. Hope you're having a good day. What's up, Serge? We got Sergi and Serge. What's going on, guys? Cool. All right, let's talk a little bit about last week, right? Last week. Great greens off there. We actually left a lot of good support resistance targets for later on coming back down too. I'm actually pretty stoked. So nice and slow since I'm very tired and we haven't seen charts in a little bit, so I might be a little a little slow here. We'll make it work. So the gap to gap. Life is good, man, especially when we woke up. Afternoon, Terry. What's up, buddy? Okay, last sip of coffee. Ooh, the 3:30 p.m. coffee, second pot. It's okay. All right. So the gaps that we talked about on ES coming up from last week, we have the gap down 4.243, right? We got that big wash down, and we left this gap up for quite some time. 4.2, very, very, very unique candle we talked about a lot because that was the Liberty Day, right? So Mr. Trump saying, Liberty, all Americas, and we're good to go. So when we fib out the Liberty Day to the downside, we are recycling those fibs, right? So when we started the gap and go to the downside on ES, we started getting these really heavy volatile moves down, 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 down. Obviously, everybody panicking to the knee-jerk tariff news across the board. You've been there. We witnessed it. But the Fibonacci ended up being extremely clean with the Liberty candle mixed up with the weekly gap that we said on SPY to watch and the big old buy everything at this level. So if you did miss that, we had a gap open on the weekly, which I'm going to need the max or at least a 3-year to get down to, which was right here. And that was our bounce target for the near term. We had a big old level there and it said buy, buy, buy. And that's what we hit from the Liberty walk down, right? What happened to that? Them over here. Let me look here one sec. Is that permanently minimized or just hid? Let me double check. One sec. I just clicked something and the whole shebang just went nuts here. Oh, it looks like we're still live. Okay. YouTube chat's up. That's not there. Liberty. Yeah, I like that. I can't find my OBS. I see it right here. Why can't I just take that and put it? Hey, there we go. I'm new to Mac and everything that has to do with anything tech most times. All right, we're live. We're back. Okay. So we had the big... I lost my OBS, and I don't know if I accidentally closed it or not, if we were still good. All right, so the weekly tag, we had that huge buy point, 42.73. Now, that Liberty crack right into the gap, but left another gap, obviously, right? We go to the SPY, you're going to see it on the ES as well. Get to that daily chart. We got it right here, 4.2, right? Big old gap. Only to be tagged again by the biggest candle in history on dark route orders, or whatever you want to call them on the back end of things. We came back and touched that gap, and then we just kind of consolidated after a move like this. The whole market is going to get shook. So we are engulfed and trapped in this, which is perfectly fine, right? When that happens, we usually fib out exponentially awesome candles like this. And we'll get into this one a little bit later, but the livelihood of this mother trucker was crazy, because if we failed inside of there, we're going to come down to GP, especially when we make exponentially large candles like this, or number one ever. We popped up, we came down, we had that low, and then it higher load right where it needed to on the GP, gap and go all the way to the top. And that's where we said on Friday we were going to get to if she started breaking back to the upside. So I told my crew we were looking for that market downside, and we had this beautiful 1, 2, 3 down, and we stuck right here. And then we posted on X. We said, all right, bye-bye market. Let's go get our GP tag. We didn't get that, but in the live stream in our chat, we called it right here. We said, yeah, guys, it's about 10:05. So I don't want you guys in this short one bit unless we're under VWAP, which is a standard for us. And we had it on the screen. So if we weren't under that VWAP, we were not coming down to the GP. And we said we'd come up to the pump trump top candle, which the big old pump trump candle, which is obviously massive one here, that was going to be the ending long from Friday. And it actually pushed a little bit into that gap from Liberty that we had here. Okay. So speculatively, what we're going to look for, and of course it's all dependent on what this thing wants to do, because we have a gap below and a gap above. We just peeked into that gap and we already have a first tag. So generally, when I look at a gap, the first tag, I have no idea why that just auto adjusted all the way out. That first tag of the gap generally does not fill. So when a gap is created, like it did here on 4.2, the first time price action would return to that gap would be the first tag. So gap is creation. This is the first time price action has seen that gap. We are now into the second time the price action has seen that gap. A lot of the times, more often than not, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, nothing's 100% in the market. The first tag, though, into the gap generally comes back down. It's a pretty fun first tag short metric. But now we are into the second tag. So we have a high percent chance to kind of keep pushing up. And remember, our bull case scenario here, coming back up to back test confirmation, is developed off that 100 EMA still. So we're still going to say, hey, we found that bottom at that weekly buy zone we put in right here. We broke through that 100 EMA back here. We sliced through the 200, back tested the 200, right? We were looking for that long hold here before Liberty Day, where we had a good support. 548.70 is actually daily, came up 1, put a gap and go. Then we looked over under the 10 SMA daily in the blue, and we got caught under the 10, and down she went for the Liberty gap, right? So we didn't actually get the 3 up here either, and we definitely did not backtest that 100 EMA in question. So what we're going to continue to look for is most likely another push scenario to the 100 EMA, regardless if there's a little pullback to this gap, or regardless if there's even a small pullback to a GP no tag of, let's say, Thursday, because our entire trade day there for Thursday, Friday, we were looking for that GP tag, and it's always over under yesterday's highs when we look for those GP tags. So Thursday's candle fibbed out to the high low. We look for the GP, obviously 61.8 to 320. That's in between the fib high low. So when we got that beautiful 3 down, we're looking for that short continuation. I told everybody to short under the VWAP and crack the VWAP, chase the short down to 543 into the VWAP. I don't want you guys short unless we're cutting good under that VWAP, especially after that last big bounce. And we were getting some trifling candles from the Trump tweets. They were just all over the place. So it was much better to wait till you had a trend under the VWAP to chase down to golden pocket. Now, we didn't get that, so of course we're going to be watching that GP on the daily chart, and we're going to see that continuation long. But one thing I do want to point out, and this is a big part of our plan coming up here for tomorrow's open, depending on what the futes look like and everything else, the Thursday's high-low, we're actually a smidge off right there. There we go. The 1618 is linked with the gap fill. It's overlaid. Okay, so when we look for very important levels on the weekly and daily, we look for overlapping levels a lot of the time with high priority candles, dojis, high range, gaps, those candles that are extremely important. We fib those out, especially the ones with no golden pocket tags, right? No GPs like Thursday. And then those extensions are going to matter the most. So as we came into some of these opportunities to see overlap here, we now have a gap fill from the Liberty candle that lines up perfectly with the 1618. So these Thursday fibbies are going to be pretty awesome. And then, of course, the top of the Trump candle, right, where we said that long ago, if you take a high-low again of Friday, you're going to see the 50 fib line up very close, or I should say the golden pocket, very close to the Trump highs. So even if there's a small pullback consolidation to the week, we still have a very high educated guess to continue that upside move. And the market does love things in threes. So if we count this weekly bounce that we had said was a huge buy zone potential, up 1 and up 2, we generally on the second stroke up here, because I don't really know what to do with this candle here. I'm just going to kind of think it's an uptrend exists. I'm just counting the low of it, the mega Trump candle. So this is still all one kind of move here. And then it kind of pulled down, created the double bottom higher low for the second move, and we are in roll up right now of the second move. And what I like to see is maybe a third move make up to our 3-3 candle. So right now we still have to maintain a lot of upside for potentials of our major target. BRT's major target is the back test of that 100 EMA moving average daily. So if we cut that down, got that huge pull weekly, 1 up, 2 up, and we might even get it on the 2 up and then 3 up, because my final target is up here with the 3-3 candle, right? We're going to go just sub 600, into the 590s, chasing down this very important candle right here. We have some other very important targets coming up on the 1 minute gap system that we carry as well. So when we have the opportunity to see these overlaps come, you got to pay attention to them. So I think when we start the week here, let's delete Fridays here, we're gonna be dealing with this gap, okay? And if we enter and stay above Thursday's 547.47, that top, right? We find that support right here and push for that gap fill, I think we're fine to do that. But if we happen to fall back into that Thursday, it's just going to be a consolidation day. We're going to look for a little bit of the back test of the GP. And if we decide that that GP tag does not have the steam to move up to a gap fill like that, we're going to start assuming the gap to the bottom side needs a tag, because remember, first gap tag, like we were talking about earlier in the video, is generally a rejection point. And that could actually be the next higher low on movement if it needs to do that, right? Because we will be coming back down here. We have a lot of open algos. Eventually, it's just when, not if. So if we do end up rejecting this gap and coming down to the gap and go into the 5 low 30s here, That is still going to be a play we watch for. We obviously need Monday, Tuesday candle to help us out here, and we're not going to project that far out because that would be nuts. So I'm going to maintain the trend that we have, up, up. And of course, we covered this in last little breakdown. We're just starting that nice MACD on the daily cross. We're starting really good over that 50. And last but not least, we did say when the weekly RSI has a overbought or oversold indication, immediately start selling. We've been talking about this for 10 years plus on some of the older YouTubes we used to do too. If you go to a weekly chart, and a lot of the times you'll have you know, in the terms of regular marketing, when we're not coming into like a fake market, quantitative easing, when the market's just getting held up and money printed up after COVID and stuff like that, the RSIs will tell you fantastic pull zones. So like right here where we had the weekly coming in to that month early, you know, in 2024, we started getting really hot on here. Then it started just to dip from the speed. Selling calls here at tops are really good. Same thing with the buy side. We said when the RSI comes to be very cold in that weekly, start selling some far out puts because we're going to have a very opportune time for that upside. I don't suggest that in quantitative easing when the market is just close your eyes, buy highs, and everybody wins. Everybody's a genius in a bull market with there's quantitative easing, you know, and that's just the simplicity. So when we get quantitative easing, if you're not familiar or just you're more of a TA trader, it's the money pump of the market. It's like, here's that COVID dip right here that got to the weekly oversold, and then you just seen it come up and it just does this, never comes back down. It's just quantitative easing, it's just pure money printer. So like for us, we went to the daily chart. Just every time the daily chart here in 2020 hit the 50 SMA, you just buy it. And that was it. It was quantitative easing is just close your eyes, buy highs, instant win. Everybody's a genius in a bull market. Super simple. So the longevity of this move, we're still going to be, you know, pacing the daily 100 EMA. We're going to be pacing those gaps at the futures open. We're going to be getting ready for some of this, you know, explosiveness. I'm hoping we're going to continue this explosiveness because if not, we're going to go back down to some of the boring stuff. And the VIX has been dropping, you know, relatively quick. And, you know, if we have to start to come back down, the VIX is going to have to tackle some of these gaps. So one other thing we started to go over on this channel was the VIX gaps above and below on the daily, right? And for us, if it would have dropped 29.19, failed some of these gaps all the way down to 27.56, that was a huge over under to get us to the daily gap in the 24s. So that's where we said the magnet was going to be if it wanted to run up. So here's that gap system for the third time now during the stream that we're talking about, where a gap is created, right? Creation gap 411, 414, right? The first time price action on pretty much anything, it just has an opportunity. It's more often than not 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, something like that, where you create a gap and the first time action of anything comes into that gap, it rejects that way, right? Like you see here. And then let's go down right here. And again, there's no guarantees, but this is just something to watch for. First gap we got on Friday for the tag. So there was the gap up here and the gap down here. And we talked about those two, one or the other hitting, right? Because if the 10 SMA would have been a loop point for the VIX and it would have started coming back up to fill that gap, we would have got some adverse news, kind of like the China was trying to scare everybody to, what was it, the bags and clothes and all the other stuff about the tariffs saying, hey, all your stuff is just rebranded. You know, and then that maybe could have been one of the catalysts to shoot us back up. Yeah, sure. You know, then we would look for the gap fill up, but it was predominantly more, it made more sense. Sorry, I'm still super tired to be coming down to one of the first initial gap tags. So when that gap down was hit, done, continuation. Now we're at that first tag again with Friday. So that's going to bring us some of these ES trades. So let's talk futures open here, and then we'll go over some questions and whatnot. Because we got a lot of downside here as well. So the one, and we'll call it two so-so things, right, that we're dealing with here. One I want to bring up on ES, and of course this is going to reflect on SPY, is the RSI. And that RSI did come from that cool zone. We got the Trump pump, kind of came down just a little bit on that pullback where we double bottom inside the Trump candle, which is at that 50, but then it moved up to the 50 RSI. And a lot of the times, the first tag, and algos look at this on everything from oscillation indicators to price action, moving averages, fibs. Please just remember the first time price action hits something that needs confirmation, it's always a very big key, right? And RSI is much faster than MACD. So if you see the RSI coming into the 50 point, right? Because we always watch that halfway point for us, we call it at the RSI. That comes into that 50 point, we can actually have a little dip on the RSI while the MACD is slow and steady, just cooking the steam. So let's talk about a 3 up here, where if this RSI becomes one of the major contenders for a resistance point on the ES and heads down, we'll be able to see that reflect off the higher high on the 3 pattern, right? That we were just talking about. SPY doesn't really have it. You know, ES has a little bit of a move back up, but the bottom line is the daily gap fill is still there, a Liberty gap. Remember, SPY and ES both have this, okay? So even if we do come up and hit that gap tag and come down, that's still a higher high in scenario of the pattern. So if we're coming here for that low, pushes up 1, 2, and this is still a micro higher high. So if we have to come down for the 3rd leg up of the 100, that's the scenario that matches up really well with what we just covered in the volatility index, because the VIX just did what? Just tagged for the first time the gap and go that we had seen from, oh, you guessed it, Liberty Day, right? So that 4-2 pushed up for now Friday's backtest tag. So the rule applies here to the gap's first tag, where if this gap down, like it shows here, hits opposite, couldn't fill, same thing will happen here potentially, right? We might get a rejection off the first tag gap and send the VIX back up, okay? If that's the scenario we start to see, we will start to lean into the ES's potential of downside. Now, again, ES does look a little different than SPY. Notice that gap we're looking at right here. If you look at SPY, comparatively, there is no first tag because futures trade longer, right? Pushes up pre-market, gets over those highs. There's not actually a first tag. Just because futures has it means nothing. SPY, always more important. So if you fib or channel that gap out, whatever you want to do there to mark it off high-low, notice that there is no first tag of that gap here on the SPY, SPY ticker. That's what matters. I don't care about the ES contract at all. Doesn't matter one bit what this thing does. We trade ES off the SPY all the time. So this shows you a first tag already. And of course, some of those rules are rejection, continuation, right? Not only that, we grabbed that 10 SMA we talked about too on that daily, which was really big support. So that leads us with that scenario being tiny bit more likely. But what does that scenario look like on futures playing out prior to SPY being open? Well, let's try to do a small prediction with that. We're going to come into this gap would be best case scenario, right? Now this daily gap needs that fill, 556622. Interesting, huh? I don't think it's exactly that, but it's just where the line ended up. It'll be closer for the bottom of the gap to the top. It'll be right in between, anywhere near. It might be off by a penny or two because of the daily lines. We don't have a magnet that works good for a snapping tool here for me. So let's say the open up on that ES comes and we do that push and we had fill in that daily gap. It comes up and has that absolute beautiful little tag, and then we could find some rejection off the higher high. Well, the open session gap and the daily gap. Can we get back there in the 30-30? I think we're going to find what I'm looking for. The 30, but we might. I'll just worry about the daily one. So with that daily gap fill being just almost tagged, it shied it, right? We had this little after hours even little gnarly little click up there, 556225. 556622 here is the key to resistance. So let's say this opens up highs and it kind of hits that, then does some crazy, and then starts heading down because it's preemptively getting ready for the VIX bounce first tag gap. And again, that's just a play. It's a potential to look for. We're going to look for the continuation down. One thing I do want to show you guys to the downside here with that VIX showing up in the opportunity to come down. I marked this off for last week too in case we had a huge tumble. We have a double, I forget what the fair value gap users say it. We call it no GP tag, but there is a 5-minute displacement right here. You can see on the 5-minute chart, if I scoot this over to the right there. So you're going to see this 5-minute, and that comes from 4:23, 10:20 a.m. Central right here. That's the 5-minute candle, and that overlaps right here with another, I think they call them fair value gaps. We call them no GPs, which the 50 is not hit at the top of the candle from the high. So if you do a high-low Fibonacci, the 3 white lines right there, it's the golden pocket. We have an automatic indicator for that on TOS and TradingView for our members. It's all free, of course, for our members. But that right there, that's going to be a really big attempted pivot point. Now, I want to show you something cool with this pivot point, okay? Because we can measure stuff between the futures and the SPY. So here's the close. Where's that pivot? All the way down to that 5-minute double fair value gap. We call it, double GP, no tag, whatever you want to call it. It's down there and it's not filled. okay? And those displacements, they can chase those and fill those pretty hard. But let's take a peek here. How many points is that away? 100, 1.85 on ES, right? So let's say VIX bounces and ES goes for a tackle on something like this. What's 100 points down on ES reflect on SPY? Well, we know it's 10 to 1. So we know we got to go 10 points down just about. And correct, that's 10. But where does that go? Watch this interesting little algo transfer here. Let's say we get up here. Here's that close of the highs. Here's minus 20, 3.7%, right? That gap is double away from that. But where's the 10? Oh, golden pocket of Thursday. And that's interesting. Okay. So we have a really good sneaking suspicion with two different algorithm magnets, right? That means if she comes back down, because again, we could come up, fill that gap in futures and pull, right? And that pull, as we discussed a little bit earlier, could only come to what? Thursday's GP, right? That's one of the trade plans. So if that comes under, like we said, 547.47, we have a chance to come down to the GP. Now from the close of SPY to the bottom of the golden pocket is exactly 10, give or take 50, right? 1.85% is what we just looked at on the futes, 1.91% on SPY. So if VIX's first tag of that gap does not fill, wants to knee-jerk react up, put volatility into the market, which we have been seeing just the pure opposite, and we start getting kicked down, right? Even if the futures pop up, fill that gap, and start getting kicked down, right? Now it's GP time. That's the Thursday GP, right? Make sense? So that's how we dictate in between some of those algos we like to see back and forth doing the measurement between ES and SPY. So when you get these really interesting like double overlaps, gaps, everything else, they get left open for quite some time, and they will return, especially the double fair value gaps. And we also have that gap down here in the future, which is even farther away. So let's say the second scenario plays out, we get a crazy sell coming into next week. We just, the markets don't believe any of the tariff stuff. It's too back and forth. The weekend news ruined it. This is target one. Okay, I want you guys to keep that in mind. This is that fair value gap double we just talked about to the short side sentiment, right? Because when we play the futures open in the next hour here, as we're chatting and streaming, we're going to be very dedicated to watching zones like this fair value gap. Now let's talk gap, right? So what do we know about the gap? We have one under us. We're in a 3-up potential move, which means the market loves to move in threes. Here's 1, pullback, 2. We did hit a micro higher high. So if we go 3, like we're talking about, let's measure gap to gap here, which we already know where the gap is. We don't got to daily gap that. It's more about the fair values. But from here down to the bottom of this gap fill, 213 points. Now, of course, we're going to see that reflection on SPY as well. But there is another no GP tag down here that's going to be crazy. Now, this no tag GP down here left some very interesting stuff I can't cover here quite yet open, which I will for the main team here. At least we'll level up. But I do want you guys to fib out another no GP tag here. Make it gold. That's usually our daily color nowadays, just for reference, keeping her tight. This GP was another no tag, but one other thing, and this is why I know it's going to come back. We use Fibonacci as a first tag magnet structure a lot of the time for trend and where something is going to be going. We have a rule for Fibonacci, and when you draw a high-low on a Fibonacci like this, when it goes to the 1618, we have a higher probability chance for the 1618 to reject to at least the 100 before continuing, because nothing likes to go in a straight line of the market, to the next extension outside of the Fibonacci, which would be 2618. Notice this daily pattern. This is what freaks me out about the longs right here, which doesn't really matter. If they want to pump this up and Trump keeps, pumping that news, pumping that market, whatever he wants to do, it's just technical analysis. Remember, TA always gets trumped by fear, hype, and greed. That comes from the news. That comes from the tweets. Those little news algorithms that knock us out of our high VIX positions on our small accounts once in a while that we cannot plan for. That's what always is in the back of your mind. But with this good TA and Fed blackout period next week, there's no Fed speaks or anything like that. It's just going to be Trump tweeting the word China and tariff being used again. We're going to hope that this TA can work out, because notice here, we made the high low, no GP. It came up, hit the 1618, into the gap. See ya. Now we have a magnet for 5339.64, saying that once we get hit by a very strong resistance, and that could very well be the 100 EMA on the 3-up, 1, 2, and let's just say just the smallest pullback comes to Thursday's GP and 3, then we're short after the 3 up, okay? Reflection on oscillation indicators, if that happens in about a week, you're going to be looking for that MACD to get very close to the 0 line, okay? That's that purple. We're in negative territory in the MACD on the under that. We're in the positive territory above that. Coming up to the 0 line for temporary resistance after RSI does one of these. That's going to be a big key de facto for me as well. Because when that MACD center line starts to get hit, there's opposing and opposite forces. Another good example is that of this is the 3 down that we had suffered back here at the end of 24 coming into 25, right? 1, 2, 3. Look at the MAC 0 line. 1, 2, finally into the MAC 0 line, temporary support. What was the outside source of action? The same thing I just said, the 100 EMA, which means the pattern down. 1, 2, 3, 100 EMA, while the MACD is into that 0 line tag potential, right? It's interesting. We're just doing the opposite right here. This was the downside 3 down into the 100 EMA with the MACD coming into the 0. We are now in a potential 3 up with the 100 EMA in mind, with the MACD 0 line in mind, okay? So big takeaway there. Hello. If you guys got some questions, throw them out. We're going to cover a little bit of the futures trading here, but I figured I'd answer questions and hang out while we set up some charts. I just want to cover some of those things as we're getting into the trades. The last trade that we had covered here, last trade day, I guess, we didn't really cover too much on the, because we had way too much to do with the drafts. So this is that's that gap fill that we were talking about here in ES. This is the crazy spaghetti we're looking at too on these ESs. So these were coming down very nicely, but the first tag of confirmation will overlay this freaking thing here. I shouldn't say first tag, but the first tag of the day rather. It's a very strong trend line. We used that low from Thursday and just blast it off, and then Friday it actually came down to exactly that. And that was one other thing we said needed to break before we came down to this double fair value gap. But I want to show you guys the spaghetti because when we're using the open, high, low, close 4 on these anchor VWAPs, you can notice that when we put them on the top downs, right? I put them on either the highs or some very high volatile candles. So obviously a high candle, big wash after that. Obviously a big wash candle, open, high, low, close 4 on that. Another Trump tweet candle, huge wicks, craziness. We shorted this one pre-market at that 5 a.m. It's hitting the gym, hitting a monster short right there. Those candles are all yellow from the top down. Then I got a couple in-betweens for that orange. And this is another reason I told everybody to hop out of that trade right here when the standard VWAP became support at 10 a.m. Friday. Because the rejections that we were getting on all this beautiful spaghetti coming down did not hold. We actually broke through them once, twice, 3 times. And these anchor VWAPs, the more they're touched, the less strong they are. That is how you have to remember these anchor VWAPs. So if you see something push into it once, twice, 3 times, 4, now we're consolidating on them, nope, it's gone. So we had to get out of that trade here at 10, but that was also because of the standard VWAP on Thinkorswim saying, hey, we can't go short unless we're really traveling under that. Let's hope that market goes bye-bye. But we held the spaghetti, did a big run, hit the top of the Trump candle, defended spaghetti, and off we go. So that's another thing that can be back tested is the sketty, or we might just open strong, go for the gap fill, and then we might find one of those force ups to huge fail coming in. We have no idea. I have very little expectations rolling in, so we'll see. Grows on the open, high, low, close 4. When I was doing a lot of research on my only 10 minutes late. Oh, what's up, buddy? When I was doing the research on the anchor VWAPs, that is one of the options I had back tested most accurately for me. Anybody can trade with any system they want for high lows. High lows work perfectly fine. Open, high, low, close 4 for my systems, leading with like Fibonacci. That is one of the things that, like, let's just do a tiny example here. That's one of the things that I had found just very dominant, the open, high, low, close. It really helped me with the Fibonacci intraday. And I'm looking for indicators to stack, right? We look for those confluence points. So let's take, and I have one, let's give you guys a free mini lesson here on another thing too about this. I'll give away some sauce here that I don't really teach much on this one. Screw it. So this open to high low, right? We know open is 8:30 a.m. Central for me. If I take that high low on Fibonacci, right? And I go over you know, the standard for us. GPs. I don't know why this is saved all weird. We don't use these. Okay, there we go. So if I took that opening high range, and I'll go over this time cycling, time algos. You guys hear me say 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Central. The EU algo shut down a lot. We look for dedicated moves to either continue or reverse. And this has a lot to do with the opening session fib high-low. I don't talk about this system a lot because we have so many. And the high-lows, it's just a high-low, so don't think of it any other special way. But it does happen before the EU algos are shut down, and there's a reason I use that because of that. Right there. But if we use the high-low right here, then, you know, pay attention to the sketty, the open high-low closes. If, let's say I went on and did like a low sketty and put lows here, lows here, lows here, they would actually be a lot higher than they needed to be. So the open high-low close 4 calculates a little differently, obviously, and it actually gives me overlap with high-low fibs in this scenario. And I did a whole bunch of back testing with the open high-low close 4 versus like high-lows, and the open high-low close 4 generally lines up with the flow of trend better, just overall for me, because when it starts the downtrend, like open high-low close 4 versus like highs, we could do, you know, you could do as many comparisons. It's just what your eyes pick up better. They both work, and kind of, unfortunately, like the Fibonacci, it's not if, but when the VWAP is going to work. So let's say we come here and we just start plugging on some anchor WAPs that are, you know, highs, right? So reset the setting to high. I have to, I must have reset my main layout because it's not even on open high-low close 4 right now, but those are all open high-low close 4s, or should be. You know, my layout, I just noticed not on the right layout, but no big deal. So if we go to the high point right here, go to style, hit that blue, let's just make them purple, big ones. Then you can kind of look at those tops right here. So we'll keep it at the top, and we come to these algo candles here. And let's just say we throw bunch of perps on here that are just high, and then look at where the high-low range of the Fibonacci is here for that opening session, and look how late the purple worked, but look how clean they were closer to the GP. And again, back here, what if you were buying the high reversal anchors that were in the purple, where you broke out of the high anchors and then went for a back test, and you were to buy these right here, and you were subject to, oh, I don't know, one of those gnarly 10-point ES, almost 0.20% there to the downside. That's pretty big. Slippage on ES, right? Open, high, low, close, more accurate. Okay? So I do not use high-lows. I use open, high, low, close for that reason. Accuracy. What's up, buddy? If QQQ... If QQQ gets to its daily GP like it did on Friday, market dumped before SPY got to it next day GP. Is that standard? No, no such thing as standard. We just call it divergence before the next one. I wish there was a way to come through that, just be like, oh yeah, it's when this does this, it does this. No, there's no 100% like that in the market ever for any indicator. There is no standard between the two. So when you're talking, because the difference is the weight of the QQQ versus SPY. One is 500 stocks, one's 100. So you're looking at the NASDAQ 100 versus the SP 500, only look at SPY. SPY is the real market. QQQ will always get you. Like especially for my systems. A good example of this is the daily chart in QQQ. We had a complete diversion. This is because of Tesla and NVIDIA and how they make up between QQQ and SPY. So if you look at one of my main candles I've been predicting a lot of this stuff off of, it's the 3-3 candle. It's the interaction I had with the 100 EMA. So if you come back here, it's right here on SPY, 3-3 of 2025. Look at Q's 3-3 of 25, right? Oh shit, wrong one right here. 3-3 of 25. That's the one. It has the 100 EMA hit. Has the 100 EMA hit, right? But the GP's already done, right? Why is that? Well, Q's didn't start in some massive, not even massive, a gap down, right? Which it did. Micro started in a little gap down, ran away, then had to plug all the way back. And the 3-3 on SPY is still a no golden pocket tag 100 EMA, and Q's did an absolutely disrespectful move. That means either NVIDIA or Tesla or something here, most likely semis and chippers, that's what it usually does in the QQQ, we're having a much better day, and some other of the 498 common stock in SPY, we're just not having a good day, plus the big tech. So I will always use SPY no matter what. There is no correlation between if something is going to hit a GP and it doesn't. You can see here on that 3-3 candle, unfortunately, it is just It's divergence. It's either convergence or divergence. How far away is it? The bigger the volatility index is stretched up to for the quote unquote fear indicator, that is, the harder convergence is between those two. Because if we're having crazy news on Tesla, that's the main driver of a lot of these moves. So if we come over to like Tesla here and you go to, well, you know how insane Tesla's been, right? For the Elon news, this was all because of the working with the Trumpster, and then of course the Dem crazy leftist outrage, and then big consolidation. Now it's moving back up. But the only catalyst that we had for moving back up is Elon said he was going to go back and work for Tesla and leave the presidency, right? That's why it's doing that. So the QQQ is going to get unnatural movements for some of those really big Tesla waves, because 100 versus 500, QQQ 100, SPY 500, always use the SPY. A lot of the times I'm even trading the divergence live where, hey, I see ES or SPY has not tagged this yet. I'm going to go long on QQQ, even though all the tags are done on QQQ, because I want to trade the QQQ range, but I want to trade the correct move. So I actually use SPY. It's something you got to get used to. But no, I wish there was a GPN. Yep, definitely. Earnings is huge, Oliver. I agree. Of course. Absolutely, buddy. My audio is choppy. Oh, man. Let's give it a check here on the internet test here. Make sure my mics are all working. Let me know if it's a little choppy. I might have been in and out because I was like moving away from my mic, and it's one of those cardio microphones that require me to be like right up on it. It's like right here. You can barely see it on the screen there probably. No audio issues? Okay, might be a little bit on the connection there. Brand new Brandon might be on your end. I don't know, but looks like everybody else is doing okay with it. I was getting a little but refreshed. Now it's all good. Yeah, hit. You hear me stutter, it's not the stream, it's actually me. But hit the refresh. Yeah, the H's and R's sometimes get me, so I'll be I gotta update my drivers in my brain, as like Joel said. Good stuff. Might have been somebody else. I think it was Joel. Gotta update my drivers though. It was good. Good funny. Audio is perfect. Thank you. Cool. HA Glade. Yeah, pretty much. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Let's set up some futures charts. We only got 45 minutes here, and it doesn't really take too long, but this is what I like to do for futures. So let's, since we're streaming here, let's set it up. So what I like to do, like always, we jump in, we do the longest standing time frame. We start at that weekly, okay? So let's get to that weekly. We'll do this for both, like always. And we got some pretty interesting stuff. Of course, we're gonna, and this is another reason I don't think I covered why ES has a better chance to kind of pop up and hit that gap and then go down, because again, these divergences between the two with VIX's high is crazy. But the weekly 10 SMA was not hit either on NQ, so we could actually pop through that a little bit and go for that crazy gap fill on ES, which would be kind of nice. So let's some bigger takeaways here. The weekly no tag GPs we generally will return to, okay? And if you're not familiar with that, if you go to any weekly chart, I always call think or swim, not anything else. Think or swim. It'd be very mandatory here with that. The only platform I use and trust is think or swim, unless it's on Anchor VWAPs, then it's TradingView. Everything else I do not use on TradingView. That's why we still have this huge, not even sneaking suspicion, that chance to come down and fill some of these common gaps. Now, these €1,000,000 contract changes, we're not talking about those. We're talking about gaps that are not contract changes, right? So we're going to start on the weekly here, and no tag GPs, man. I already kind of gave it away, but whatever. This is why we're going to come back down to 16. We have a really good gap to fill here. And then the 2016 recession, we have some couple targets on QQQs we're coming down to here that are going to be in danger for high 14s, low 15s into that 2026. I might have said 16 recessionary. But let's get to the setup here. High, low, always, okay? And generally speaking, especially when we get big range candles, they don't stay open a ton. They can, they just don't. We had a couple right here stay open for a few months at the end of 2023 there, or 24, but it wasn't all that crazy. And we do have some big ones down here that our 2026 recession will bring us back down to. But in the near term, let's just start on our setup. High, low, teal. That's what we're going to do. This is just the general colors for me. Then I go to the daily. And I go, all right, what are the high and low points? Do we have any GPs to the left that need to be tagged? That's what I start with on the daily. And I start looking. I say, okay, well, these are good. These are the only two. And if we lead higher outside of the weekly range, it's the only way we're most likely going to be flying in. So there's a very big sentiment here that starts right at the weekly high lows. Okay, 19,000, just about 600 there, is that top for this weekly high-low Fibonacci. So if this comes up and ends up being resistance or just the over-under that hits and comes back down to this gap, which we should fill quite quickly. It might even be next week. We'll see. That's going to be that downsided. So the daily chart and the weekly chart, we start to get them to work together with us. It's even better. And for this opening trade, we're only going to use, now remember the no GP from 424 and Thursday is still going to exist, but we're going to set up for my opening 30 to 15. That's it. I only trade the first 30 off the 15-minute, 5-minute, and 1-minute for the overnights. And then we'll do some swings if it looks interesting enough. All right. So we got a weekly and a daily. We understand that Friday's candles GPs, this is all first tag metrics. So let's do the same to ES. Be a boring part of the stream here, setting up. Yeah, we did a little lessons on that. GP here. Cool. Weekly. And again, if you guys got questions, post them up. We got about 40-some minutes before those futures open. We'll hang out. We'll chat. We'll either BS for a little bit or answer some questions here. So now we got our weekly high-lows on. We're going to do our dailies. And of course, that gap fill is our main concern here at that open. So we'll mark these up in a little bit in about a half hour when we start playing the futures open. But we do have a definitive chance to come right up here. Might even push up into that hit before we stop down here. Might be an interesting one. What's a GP? It's the golden pocket is what we call it. The high-low of a Fibonacci retracement. It is 38.20 to 61.8. So whenever you draw a high-low Fibonacci, what's up, dudes? Hi. Hello. We have this right here. That's the golden pocket between the 38.20 and the 61.8. What's up? You guys gonna jam on some computers? Yeah? Can you do the work stuff? You're just a little too small yet. But you can do the charts on your computer. You can do the fake work stuff if you want to.
But I don't know how to get on there.
You don't know? Okay, Archer can help you in a minute. It's on the browser.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll help you out a little bit here. Alrighty. Golden pocket, correct. GP, that's what I keep saying. Yep. Thanks, 72. There's that one crazy algo that never touched the 50 up by 580. Yeah, correct. Yep, there's also 1-minute gaps that we have, and that's why I know we're going to go higher. But if we go lower before higher, or if we just continue here, either way, the next dip is very viable, just like that weekly gap was very viable. What's up, either? Don't use much for indicators. What moving average are your core? 100 EMA, that's it. And the 10, that's all we need nowadays. Core indicators, Fibbies, Anchor, VWAPs, and the 100 EMA, my friend. Those are the only three. As far as indicators on chart, everything else is just oscillation on the bottom, MACD, RSI. We limited it down to about 5 things to worry about nowadays. We don't want too much going on. All of our Anchor VWAPs, nope, not even bother with the 50 anymore. I'll look at some long-term stuff. Like, let's say there's death cross where, you know, the 50 crosses the 200 and speculatively it's always a terrible cross, or the golden cross, which is, you know, vice versa, so on. I can look at some of those things. The 50 works fine. But for some of the stuff, that's not if, but when, you know, we try to minimize that stuff. So playing a 50 would be less consistent than playing 100. 100 EMA will work better than a 50 will. Longer standing time frame, first tags. So just limiting the amount of scalp trades we take. We don't want to do 15, 20, 30 scalps a day, and everybody's like, why are we using 50 different indicators? Why does it hit that? You know, we could have just waited for 3 big trades off the 100 or a VWAP. So we're minimizing a lot of the high frequency trading that we used to scalp like crazy. 50 on daily close, yeah, no doubt. See, because we have gaps and weekly fibs and other things that'll play out right over that 50. Same jam. 319, 306. Okay. 319. I don't think I'll be able to get all the way out to set up a chart for that far back, but is that the gap day? There's a consolidation, might be one of them. Oh, just before. Okay. 319. Yeah, because this is another one of those small sliver gap scenarios that stayed open a couple of first tags and then filled on the wash. Yeah, and we got algos there. That's a huge one, probably untagged. It might be tagged because if you're looking at 319's candle to the right, does have a lot of hits there. I'm not sure. We have a no tag there. We do have 3 threes, and where we're going for, holy moly, is this Qs? Oh, we're on ES. That's why it looks all crazy here. Hold on. That's why I probably didn't see it. 319 right here. Okay. Yeah, that one, it's probably got to be filled by now if we got top bottoms there. Unless that was one of those like crazy long wicks or something like that shot all the way up to the 3 threes. One of the big things was gonna note here and why we're so focused on the 3-3. I'll show you guys my long-standing target. So anybody tuned in right now, I'll show you where we're going. It's going to 3-3. Okay, the daily candle up here, 3-3 of 2025. That's where this long rally is going to bring us through 2025. I don't care if we drop one more time. I don't care if it comes all the way down to a double bottom and goes even lower. I will long the crap out of it back to here. 593.9, 590.33. We will come back here. Just sub 600. So even on the next push down, even if it comes down double bottom, I don't care what it does. I'll sell even more puts that we did last time to the gap, but we have too many algo dispositions that need tags on the 3-3 candle, a golden pocket, 100 EMA backtest, algos that are wide open intraday, gaps that are wide open intraday. Those don't just fall over and die. Those become magnet points for long-standing swings. I'm going to clean this chart up just a little bit. Hold it. The only reason I have this chart is for the 1 minute gaps up above. I don't want to lose those because I get so excited, go running through all this stuff, and then I just mess it up. It's on the 5 minute. I'll have to check that back. I don't trust TradingView unless you got the paid data for the CME for the exact same. On the TO, 319, 306 p.m. Yeah, I'd have to go all the way back and make a chart to check that out. I don't know if we have time. We only got about 30 minutes. I'll write it in here and check. Push up, then pull back. This do close to a peak. Also do moderately high RSI. So peaks, you want to pull back thoughts. Yep, that's what we covered actually earlier in the video as far as the daily chart's concerned on the RSI. So we run in first tag scenarios. So you're right about that because we're coming off of a super unsold. And this is our first interaction with the 50 point of the RSI. So I'm very adamant on when that 50 RSI line comes in to connecting its first time. Because back here we came up, kind of hit it, the peak right here. 49, 15, 14, it looks like on the RSI, didn't come to the 50. This is the 50 tag right here. So if we had that abrupt sell from the Liberty Day, comes in with that huge candle back, pulls and goes, we have a 3-up scenario. 1, 2, but this could be the pullback for the third leg up to our early target of the 100 EMA, and then watch it fall all the way apart, and then hopefully come back up for here. That would be we'd make so much money on 2025 if it came back to the 3-3. That would be nuts. But I 100% agree on the RSI because we have a 3-up in general, and this is our first tag. And then we did cover some MACD stuff earlier today. We can always go back and check that in the video. Went into TradingView and try to change to high-low. Open everything to get the 100 EMA to match. Think or swim the Friday and 30 open. We're so different, but no luck. I can't get TradingView to do moving average correctly either, so don't feel bad. They're always off. On the 5 minute, just on the Qs. Okay. Oh, much appreciated, man. Definitely. It's all the conglomerate of the community. That's what we're doing with you on the extending of the mega jump green candle up to the top, unclaimed GP. Yep, and that's I want to see that extension. Regardless of what happens today, when that 3-up pushes here, Maybe it's a GP up here. Maybe it's gap fill. Maybe we double gap it. You never know what's going to happen. We can't predict market open on the weekend, but we can react to it, and predict is what the poor people do. React is what the rich people do. So the chart will show us and then I'll react, right? So if we do come flying all the way back up here to the Liberty candle, which we know that we're going to come back to, we fibbed out these a million times, it feels like, right? And we talked about walking up those fibs. So when we do a fib high low, the golden pocket in our center, that's our retrace. All the extensions were eaten up, because remember we did this last recap and I said, man, that daily, interestingly enough, sure hit my favorite hidden Fibonacci extension here. That's the oh shit extension. That's the 666. Can't really tell you why, but that's the oh crap extension where I sold puts immediately whenever we get up there, because I can manage anything at a 666 extension with a premium candle like this. So yeah, regardless if it comes back up there, the 100 EMA is still going to be that bet. We had just peaked into that higher high over the Trump candle, again into that gap. So if this thing launches itself into the 100 EMA and then comes down, that's awesome. Screw it. I'll be happy to trade it tomorrow. Doesn't matter to me. I'm going to trade my regular systems here for the open, and I'll be stoked to get that. Speaking of which, we only got about 30 minutes, so let's go back to the intraday, start refreshing here. ES, that is with no slash. I was like, I don't remember that candle. There we go. All right. Let's go check out some 15 GP. So we start with the weekly, put the daily on. We come back to these golden pockets, some no tags. We look for confirmationals from the 15 and down. For me here, see that gap right above us, that is just going to be one of the things in the back of my head. And then, of course, the double fair value gaps that need to be filled right here. We should really label those. Double fair value gap. 5 minute. My cap lock's on? Whoops. That's the high-low. This is where the price action accordingly can come down to that lower side. And what I like to do here is we'll change the colors just a little bit, just so we know. Maybe some pink or something. Some uncooked burger color. We like that. Cool. Yeah, so best case scenario, let's start labeling out. So what we do here for our futures open, we want to, again, we're not predicting anything. We're only reacting. If we get a pop to this gap fill, we're most likely going to watch that fill. So watch for... We're going to watch for this potential gap fill right here. We have it marked off at a channel. So this potential gap fill is going to be one of the major watches here for that open. Let's get to the 5 minute. 15's getting adjusting weird here. There we go. We also have this interesting little no GP super wick there. That's the gap in the channel. And it would be something like this if we opened up red. So remember this scenario right here. This would be one of the ones I look for. Let's say it has one of those gap opens again, does one of this, goes crazy, crazy. We have a beautiful gap down to come back down to yesterday's close. Then again, that scenario will be really fun if we get that play out. Ugh. With the extension, just tuned in. Oh, my bad, got grog chilling on Sunday. Feeling good? And your family are good? Yeah. You as well, Brent. For sure. I'm hoping it's all good. No, of course. 100% agree with the RSI with you on that one. Yeah, there's no sorries in life, man. That's no big deal at all. That's what questions are for. I'll answer any question a bunch of times just so people get it. It doesn't matter. Yeah, we're going to have a really good opportunity for the short open. So let's get set up. We only got a few minutes here left, right? 30? Yeah. So we don't have a gap on the Qs. Let's keep looking at these candles. We know the daily high-low is going to be in the gold section here. So the two scenarios, if we open up, remember, these are all going to be first tag metrics, okay? Which means these candles are developed off high and low of yesterday's trade action, right? Or whatever, Fridays. That's going to be, that means this whole golden pocket is a first tag scenarios. So they have sticky magnets to them. So if the price action opens under like yesterday's close and is kind of stuck in the body and it's looking like it wants to go for that GP before gap fill, that's going to be scenario number 2 I look for. So pay attention to what that is, because if we magnet down, this is going to be my favorite setup right here, okay? I'm going to put this one, we'll leave this one on the screen and we'll auto adjust because again, predicting open is just silly goose territory. We can't do that. We will only react. We will not predict. What do we got here? We got 100 EMA tag already on the 5-minute. Let's go back here a little bit on ES. All those confirms. We got one open GP at lows. Okay, let's redo some anchors. So I'll show you because we're just fibbing out on TOS. We can watch moving averages on TOS. We'll come over to the Express accounts and we use TradingView here. Still have that gap here. And what I want to put on is the live low. And since we're on the wrong layout, we'll make sure it's on open, high, low, close. So this is that low, I think, right here, Friday, right? Where's that open? There she is right there. So this is that low of Friday. This stupid layout doesn't have any of my saved anythings either. So low anchor. And we just did an example on the open, high, low, close. So I know that's on the high. There we go. Open, high, low, close 4. All right. Okay. So lower day's already been tested a little bit here too. And what I like to do is just kind of put it on interesting candles. So the low of that and of course the high of live trading, both are defended multiple times. So those open, high, low 4 VWAPs, when we put it on the low of Friday, was chop defense, one big push, one big defense. So again, if it comes back down, we could get that defense again. A little bit of a magnet. We do have the top down, right? We don't really need to change these colors up too much. We can easily see where they come from, but we'll do white top, purple bottom. And do we have a GP no tag right here in ES? And then we're going to go check out NQ real quick. Get ready for the open. Nope, that one's good to go. No worries there. Oh, let's just look on the TOS because they're all auto charted. Why would I go mess around with that on TradingView? Cool. So downside there, 1 a.m. 1 p.m. 5. So these two GPs will be an interest. And that's going to be lined up. So what I'm doing is I'm going into my 1 minute and 5 minute. I'm looking for no golden pocket tags. If you're not familiar with what that is, it is the high and low range of Fibonacci, and the center for us, we use this as a whole pocket, the 61.8 into the 38.20, right? And when we have that, and it doesn't matter what time frame you use it on, just we use it on everything. When we get multiple no GPs like that, that's interesting. But if we look to the right, look at this right here. No GPs on 5 minute, they hit the 100 EMA, they hit the VWAP, which means they are important candles. And right here, if we look to the right, it is perfectly in line with our daily no GP. So if we were to take Friday's high and low, like we have done here, and chart it off this big gray box, that is the golden pocket of yesterday's. Now that lines up with these two 5 minute no tag GPs. So that's what, again, why. So if I put the top of these golden pockets on right here, right? Can make these a little less obnoxious. This is why this trade is the #1 watch for me. See those price levels? See where these GP 5 minutes are obviously right in line. That's why an open, I don't care where it opens up, hopefully like perfectly in line, and we just get an open right here at close and it kind of messes around, sets the structure to come down to yesterday's GP. That'll be the main watch because we do have intraday no tag GPs on the 5 minute and the large daily no tag GP. Hey man, nicely done. How you set your information points on the chart. Yeah, do the same thing with gold. I traded gold once last week. That was it. If you follow us over on X, once in a while I throw out some freebies for anybody that's not in the premium Discord or anything like that. We trade gold a little bit. I'm not a big fan of the structure at the moment. It is at all-time highs. So the algorithm's at all-time highs, all-time lows, 52-week high, low. They become a little static. The structure on gold's a little slow. It's not too bad. I do trade it, but it's not one of my needs or wants. I do very well at ES myself, NQ also as well. But yeah, if we take a look over at the X here, we traded a little gold last week. We did a gold short for that 15-minute no GP entry. Here's the gold short. So we called it here underneath the 1618 break. It was 3346. We had this crazy consolidation. I said, get out, it's a scam. Wait for this gap to fill. So I said gold was going to pop to 3354 because of this 1 minute gap, and then go down to 3324.90. So we did get a monster move short there. Well, to me, it's a monster move. 25 points on gold short. It's pretty big for me because we did about 2,600 on that or something like that for that one. But yeah, once in a great while, we throw out some trades here or there. I don't I'm not an alert service, so please don't think I just post all this stuff and for premium or anything like that. I actually teach real traders. I do not set everything on the chart and go, okay, guys, we're going to go together. We're all going to do a long now. So, you know, don't ever think you can pay somebody a couple dollars a month and they're just going to make you rich. That's a loser mentality anyway. You don't want to think like that. Oh, I got to get one more platform open too, don't I? Yep. Oop, not that one. There we go. That one. This one. We need one more yet. Load the boat. Look at that TLT. The recent bottom of 84. What does that mean? Yeah, I wish I knew, man. What does this mean, man? I don't know. 333 maybe? Lots of luck. Load the boat. I agree. Trade gold. Like 2023 November. You went long options. Yeah, that's right. Give me a nice little Christmas gift. Worked out perfectly. I remember that one. Yeah, we did a huge gold long. I was long gold 2,000 or $1,535. And I said we were going to probably go $3,000. And we were talking about that years ago. Yeah. And then I kind of stopped. We went all into futures, and I don't mind swinging and like metals and all that, but it's like it becomes a lot. If you're streaming, teaching, YouTubing, you got to pick just a couple things to be real good at those. So we come in at ES and NQ pretty amazingly. We do pretty well with that. Any plans for a news drop? Trump makes China trade deal? No, I don't predict. I only react. Once we see it on the chart, we'll react. That's what the rich react, the poor predict. My plan is to watch high volatility, because I don't think it's going to be as easy as that. In my general opinion, I don't think it's just going to be one of those days where Trump's just, hey, we got a deal. I think it's going to be constant headbutt for most of the quarter. We're going to have to look to earnings to drag us back up, and I think the catalyst actually is going to be crappy trade deals for the next drop. I have prediction videos in my lives here showing exactly where I think and post on X and everywhere else, showing where I think we're going to go on the next huge down leading into 2026. I don't really care what happens too much here, but I do have it charted off. I should still have it charted off. Boop, boop. Nope, not the 1 week. 3. That's right here. SPY shows it a little bit better, but yeah, right here. We'll see a sub 400 on 2026. So even if this 25 comes all the way back up, I'll see a sub 400 in the Qs in a year and a half. I got lots of post timestamp for that one. Because in 2025, I don't even care if it hits another high. It doesn't matter to me. This thing it could just be volatile. I think it's going to be like this. This is what I think 25 high is going to look like. And then 6 is just gone. I don't think 2025 is going to be fun at all. I think it's going to be a mess of headbutts and outsourced volatility where it's just going to be insane. And the Trumpster is just going to be on the tweet horn. But 2026 is not going to be great. But I wish it was going to be that. Open, high, low, close 4, my friend. I agree. 333 for the win. Absolutely. When is the time Trump has renegotiated debt? End of May. For sure, some lower interest rate will be needed for the regulation. Would affect the T market. Yeah, no, you're right. 100% there. I think that'd be fine. I just, the renegotiations, like he already stepped back, which we know, and we've covered on stream before, that Trump was never going to bully China. That's not how that was going to work at all. He could attempt, but they were going to both fluff their feathers up, like the birds do, like the turkeys or peacocks or whatever, and then they were slowly going to fluff them down together. That is what they were going to do. They're going to be all fluff, and then they're slowly both going to retract their wings, creating hype, fear, and greed, and instability in that market that we also love, which is volatility, which, again, we love to play it. It's fun, but it can hurt a lot of feelings out here if you're not used to day trading that. And we've been through Trump presidency. This one is going to be a lot worse, I think, in my opinion. But that 2026 coming in, I do not believe. I don't think we're going to get any kind of good movement. I think late recessionary qualities of, even if it's short term, it's still going to be a no for me all through 2026. The only thing that can stop my prediction from not happening to downside of 2026 or coming all the way down where I predicted it to is the availability of quantitative easing. If Trump or somehow, who knows what the extremes are, kicks Powell out and gets a bot in there and somebody they start printing after the restructured debt. Because remember, everything is just restructured debt, restructured debt. We can't refinance the country with our current market. It cannot happen. I won't go too far into this because I did a whole rant on stream about it, but in order for America to refinance that debt, we have to crash the market regardless. We need better interest rates. We're not going to we're not going to reclaim what we're at right now with the rates we have, where the inflation's at. It's just not going to happen. We have to drop the market, and Trump's doing the best thing he possibly could, is crash the market. That's 100% what I wanted. I don't want any more quantitative. I don't want the market. I want to retire, extra fat with a market dump that's going to reset the next bull run for chips, in my opinion, as GPUs. So I'll be in heavy, but again, we've covered this for years now, and my tinfoil hat rants on stream about it. Yeah, Rob, definitely. Kind of, at least all manipulation from them, all planned out. Oh, absolutely, 100%, man. It's both sides can go. Whether you think so or not, put the tin on. Put the tin on the hat. These countries do not hate each other. They do this to benefit all the trillionaire buddy friends, the world conglomerate. Us middle class is the lower end. We're not getting any benefit as they are in cahoots with getting. Yeah, let's get puts now. Okay, let's go. Okay, we're going to dump the market on this. There's so much insider trading. You cannot be blind to that. These countries do not have animosity towards each other to kill it. They push that narrative in the hype. It's all a show. It's all a show. We are a 5 life path nation. That is the entertainment of what America is. And this thing is purely entertainment. We're a 5 nation with a monkey background. China, exactly. Thanks for the stream. Just happened to see it. When you hopped on YouTube, question, what's your reason for 26 will be down? I actually had a whole video on it, my friend. So instead of going on a whole tangent, because we got futures open here in about 15 or so, we're ready to trade it. We're going to trade her live like always. Or not always, but whenever we can. But I got a prediction. I'll post it in the chat. I'm going to go here. We'll go to the past live streams we got. And I'm going to try to find it. I'm the least tech-savvy human. I'm not an influencer, so bear with me here. I don't know. Barely how to do anything here. Live. 2020. I don't have a single video with the label of 2026. I don't know why you guys even show up here. 2025 predictions. That's why I labeled it 2025. I didn't label 2026. That's why. I have an entire video on my thought process coming into 2026. You can skip around and mess around with it if you want, but I have a 2026 collapse video here, and we cover a lot of what's coming all for 2025, why periods when to make money. I do a lot of numerology work here with number rotations, life path numbers, and sequencing of business cycles. This explains a small portion of that right there. So I just posted a video for you if you're interested in cruising through it. But yeah, that is my full prediction leading in 2025. I don't have the catalyst. I don't know. I don't like to trade call. I'm a reactor. I like the chart to do some crazy stuff, and then I get to react to the crazy stuff. I never try to predict too far because I day trade. I love to come in and day trade every single day, prove the consistency. That's what I deem as fun. And the second this becomes not fun, I stop streaming, I stop YouTubing, I stop doing all this stuff, and it becomes a burden. I don't want to do that anymore. And I don't want that to happen because I'm enjoying myself now. And scalping and teaching future stuff, that's what we're doing. But if it becomes, some oblong, weird internet beefy background of something, it's I just need it to stay fun for me, because if I do lose interest in it, I don't need to work. I don't have to work anymore. I'm not I'm self-sustained on what I've invested into and what I built for myself, so I don't have to be here. So I want it to stay fun. So there's no real crazy influencer stuff here, but ask away and I'll try to answer any questions you possibly can. And please don't, I've seen somebody else I had to deny it. Don't super chat or pay me or whatever the hell it says on YouTube here. I have no goals. Don't give me any money. I don't want any of that stuff. Don't do that. Don't tip me. Don't do any of that stuff. In comparison seems reasonable. Yeah, no, for sure. No, yeah. Exclusive demand back pedal, something that seems super reasonable. Yeah. Kick in the door negotiation. Do you think the U.S. will really go for making Canada another state? That's just Trump talking. It's not about us. He probably would try to do it if Canada would actually have a leg to get in. We'll see. Yeah. Don't get me started on tin, bro. I don't have the energy right now with the NFL draft. I just barely survived with how my other businesses and how busy everything was. I don't have the 10 energy right now. I wish I did. I got, one eye half open. Got less than 15 for Futes opens. Let's get her done here. All right, we got ES done. Let's draw out our NQs here. Is this is a no, this might be, ooh, 3 no 50s. This is going to be an interesting one. I might be on the NQ side of things here today, guys. Yeah, well, let's draw up our final plans here. I'm going to turn this intraday 1 minute Fibby green. Let's start marking up our chart for plan. Best case scenario is under yesterday's close. I think that watch for potential gap fill on ES is going to, again, we're not going to predict the fills. We're just going to say, hey, if we open really high or really low, doesn't matter to us. We have a 1 minute and 5 minute plan for no GPs like we always do. You can check any of the live futures opens. I trade the first and second minute, 6th minute, 16th minute. That's it. Just for the no tag Fibbies. And if they line up with some of the big stuff we're doing right now, we just double in. Very simple. Okay. Anything, yeah, it's kind of sucks. Anything under yesterday's highs, we're kind of down to these no tag GPs, and we might open low. It really depends on how the digestion of the tariffs are kind of going here. But we'll watch for live tag zone needed. This is where that GP of the 1 minute no tag is going to be. Let's tag it out at NQ because NQ is a much more dangerous scalp over here. So I like to be a little safer for that guy. But we'll see here. Brings us to what we got. Correct, Dylan. 100%, buddy. 1 hour, yep. My live streams when we do over Friday classes, we teach a lot of different stuff. But yeah, if an hour to invest in your time is a lot, don't do it, man. Definitely not. A lot of people like those flashy, cool YouTube 15-seconders, makes them feel good, instant hit of dopamine 1 minute, and then all the motivation gone. And that's not a stab at you. That's something that I do. I like to watch a lot of stuff. We'll be watching Alan Watts. We'll be watching, Napoleon Hill. Doesn't matter what it is, and all of a sudden we get all jacked up, and I'm like, oh, I'm tired. And then I lose my motivation. But those cool snippets, like once in a while, when I want to get all beefed up on motivation, I like those little shorts once in a while too, but don't spend too much time over there. The reality hits you. Absolutely. All right, what do we got here? Those two express open. These expresses, are they linked down here? Topstep is still blocking me from opening any 3. They say I have 5 express accounts active, but I only have 3. Let's make sure these are all linked up here. 19. Then my one other funded here, we'll do these 3 right here on these expresses. Oh, changed my layout again randomly. All right, we're getting close to time here. 10, boys. Let's start charting off. Get your anchors up here. Or at least I'll be putting on mine. Remember, we do have that 1 5-minute no GP up here, too. It's going to be a weird open, I think, but that's right. I think this daily gap fill has one of the bigger potentials to fill, and that's what you got to watch for. First tag down here is what I want. Best case scenario is the short opportunity under that gap fill, and then down again. We'll see. We don't even know where it could open right in the GP and ruin the entire trade plan. Please don't put that into fruition. We are just watching for what we're like. I put candle sentiments on there for myself. Like, let's say it holds yesterday's close and goes to the gap fill. I would play that green sentiment there. I would do a long scalp. So I like to put sentiment candles on for me in the group. Whoever's in the premium Discord we got. What we do is we go over yesterday's close here for the early scalp. If it's long, if we open underneath yesterday's close, I would be down to GP. Like, those are the 2 sentiments, and I like to put one before the other. So right now for futures open Sundays, they don't matter at all. But if we come in here and it's yesterday's close into the gap, great, that's the first one. Because if we open up like right here, it just starts making that 1 minute, I'll probably go long right to the fill. If we're open under yesterday's close, make that minute, we have a better chance to come down to the GP. So I'm going to be very adamant on yesterday's close being a directional pick for me. That'll be the open here, and I'll be playing that first 1 minute. I'm going to link these 3 expressies here. Watch out for this dude right here, okay? This last minute is a no GP, so if we open up kind of there too and hunt down that GP, remember 1535 candle, it's got a no GP. It's a gnarly looking one. Get our leader set. Let's duplicate this and make an NQ panel and an ES panel so we can swap back and forth very easily between the two. Why is my link not working? Oh, that's not purple. NQ here, ES here. Okay. A lot of charties to set up here. Man, we have so much good downside with the fair value gaps we covered earlier too. Let's hope those work out. Yeah, Rob. You call me and I'll start off that electric straw. Yeah. Yeah. You got it though. AMD 1, 2, 3, 4 gaps above there is pretty nuts. You're on TOS, usually trade options, new to the futures trading thing, especially on weekends. Am I able to trade it, or do I need some sort of pass from Charles? You might want to check if you need. I know options has certain tiers at Thinkorswim. I haven't traded on the platform of Thinkorswim in a long time. They don't have good margins. They don't have great fills for options. I only trade options on Tasty Trade. It's the developers of Thinkorswim, and they left Thinkorswim and built Tasty Trade. It's an options trading platform that covers everything, and you can actually trade options on futures, and that's what I usually do for my swings, which is cool because these options run 23 hours a day, 5 days a week, opposite the market closing overnight, right? 3 p.m. Central for me, 3:30, whatever it is. Yeah, that's a big one because there's no PDT on futures trading, so you don't need a lot of capital to trade the options of this. You can actually, you don't need, like, you can have a regular old margin account with Tasty Trade, and you can just trade options in and out all day with like $5,000 in there. There's no PDT on these futures options contracts as well. And a lot of people don't know that you can trade options on futures. I would prefer to just trade futures contracts, especially through funded accounts like Topstep. We've pulled out like $93,000 or something like that since February, getting really close to $100,000 in less than 90 days, just from funded account programs. I would suggest learning Topstep and trading futures. Futures trade just like stock. It's just a 10-to-1 difference. So if I'm trading ES, it's 10 points on ES equals 1 point on SPY. And 4 ticks equal $1 on futures. ES, they have minis and micros, but yeah, I would dive into futures. But if you want to trade, if you're an options trader and you don't like trading SPY and the PDT and the crappy movement that SPY has, trade ES. There's no PDT, and you can trade ES future options. I really have been enjoying that the last couple of years too. I need to be approved on TOS, same as Tasty. Okay, yep. So you can get an approval there. Yeah, there's no PDT on anything futures, including the options. So you can throw $500 there. You want to practice some credit spreads on MES, all you want. Go ahead. Yeah, of course. Yep. Tasty I always use. That's my main, that's my huge account. That's where I trade my big. I don't post a lot of my big account. I don't. Large P&Ls with large accounts to me is, if you're a teacher, if I'm teaching you guys this, and doing, I did 100 or just under $100,000 on funded accounts on withdrawals with $2,000 accounts. Okay, and now if I would have been using like my $300,000 main account for options, futures, whatever, I don't like the percent difference there. It's not impressive if I made $10,000 a week on a $300,000 account. In my opinion, it's impressive using a $2,000 account, pulling out $20,000, every couple of weeks. That's impressive. So we do just trade the futures. We post all my P&Ls, all my bank statements in our Discord, blah blah blah, all the good stuff like always. But full transparency there. It's I don't sit here and spoon feed anybody. So if you expect to join a service and hey, he's just gonna show us every entry exit and just gonna spoon feed it, please don't join. I'm teaching to fish, and how I did this for 13 years. We are not doing, this is not an alert service. That is for losers. Yep, no PDT, chase trade, yep. Started doing the same futures now, but they still require large margin. Yep, PDT options. Robinhood started doing some, oh, I did see that. Yeah, I did see that. I don't use Robinhood except for some crypto junk, but yeah. You have to be approved for futures. I think it's really good, really easy to get approved for futures there. I think it's pretty simple. Last minute of this stream just answered so many of my questions. No problem. Oh, sure. What's up, buddy? Yeah, you can trade options on ES at NQ with small minimum. Always use Tasty Trade. Their commissions are better. Their max position sides are better. They have everything. It's a one-stop shop. You can use margin on stock trading. You can use options trading. You can use crypto trading and futures trading all out of the same margin account at Tasty Trade with decent margins. They did up all their margins recently with Trump in office and the extreme volatility, but that is still one of the best options, especially for options. My options traders out there, go to Tasty Trade. Their platform is the best. Web version? Yep, just I use the desktop platform or the web. It doesn't matter to me. I don't do like high frequency trading on Tasty Trade. It doesn't have a great like scalping setup for like what we do on futures here. Like when we trade our Topsteps, where we just have buy and bids, we can just click on the screen and make all of our trades. Blah blah blah. It's not like super fast paced like Topstep would be. It's slow and steady over there, man. You know, going for fills and options and stuff. I just set some limit orders for some credit spreads. Hey, if it fills, great. If not, whatever, we'll readjust and look back. So we'll see. Good old Robinhood, yeah. Yeah, some of the same CME data comes from there. So Robinhood will definitely have some of the great, you know, CME stuff there. If they use the same as TOS, Tasty Trade as well has the good data. Trading View is the one I can't get to work, so. All right, here we go. High frequency scalp time, baby. I'm going to put the 1 minutes on. Open, high, low, close. This is one I want you guys to pay attention to too. Remember, we keep bringing this up. This is that opening candle right here. Not opening candle. The big algo wick that happened after hours pretty much on SPY here. That open, high, low, close has a cut with no back test. So again, if it kind of opens in line or opens above it, this open, high, low, close anchor right here, 1537. That'll be a big one. Big. Okay, let's make sure I got my contract sizes right so we don't screw that up and accidentally fat finger a 10 NQ or something. Yes here, NQ there. And there, okay. Yeah, so let's see what this magnet goes. So all of our high lows, we'll see what our golden pocket looks like for that suck down here. Hopefully she comes down. I would open up Tasty Trade. I really like them. Oh, they built Thinkorswim, so. Trading View hides a lot of it. Yeah, you have to pay for a lot of their data. I just can't get it to work with moving averages. Don't tell them that you haven't ever traded futures. Yeah, just tell them you're the best. That's one of the pro tip. Lie. Lie to the brokers. And just size appropriately. It's still your money. Just don't let them tell you what you can do with or without it. Don't tell them that I've traded for 3 months and I want all this access to level 3 options. If you know, then you're not even gonna be able to practice. You know? Yeah, lie to the brokers. They're not there to help you out, man. All right, boys, 30 seconds. Trade hats on. This is where we make our money, the first 15. Let's see if we can get these 1 minute opens. Remember, there is stream lag. Please do not follow exactly what I said. I'm just talking about what I'm doing. Don't be a silly goose. We ruin your life following an 8-second to 5-second YouTube stream lag. All right. Leader account on, NQ on, ES on. And I usually let the first minute go. We're going to open here in about 5 seconds or so. Okay, not bad. We opened under yesterday's close. We're going to need that live tag zone most likely right away. There it goes, slam. We're under yesterday's close. As the trade plan suggests, under yesterday's close is down to GP potential. Unless we squeeze. We did get a gap there, like we said, so we're probably going to get a gap there, so be careful. So zoom into that first minute here. Pay attention where yesterday's close is and the GPs. I'm going to remove the VWAP for now or hide it because it's always in the way and it doesn't calculate correctly anyway, right away. We need that first tag on the bottom side. We'll see what we get here. NQ got its live tag zone needed. Remember the short sentiment, if we opened up under that, couldn't trade that. That's not tradable. We're not saying we could have traded that. No trades yet. First minute is 20 seconds left. We're going to open pretty much dead on, so it's going to be a no-minute trade, unfortunately. I should have been a little bit more aggressive and bought that because of the opening gap top, but no trades yet. Bet the college fund. 350 down, that would have been nuts, yeah. All right, first tag is on the low side of the 1 minute, which means price action to open up under the 50 on that 1 minute. ES short might be it here. Might be it. Let's see. I'm thinking a fill up to the downside would be a little bit better than what we see here. Nothing fun. I think I'm going to do a quick short to the bottom side of that GP 1 minute here on NQ. Yeah, I'll take this one on the bottom. Screw it. 19,497 entry. I'm going to exit 19,149. And boom, filled. Awesome short. Again, I'm going to go short down to those first tags. That one's done. Order filled. So I'm going short ES now on the slower accounts here. On the smaller ones, I'm going down for that GP tag. 5538.50 for me. I might jack that trade up a little bit here more. We'll see what this happens to give me. $1,000 right there on the TP on their first funded account. I'm short ES 5538.50. And again, I'm going for that GP. We discussed this. This is what we need. And what do we got for ES? We got potential 6 points. So we're going to start small here. We're not going to go too crazy. Ride like one ES down. We got a potential 6 points. Yeah, we'll hit the 1618. I'll put my sell order or buy order up. 5532. Limit by 2. So this is what this trade looks like right here. I'm on the downside of these ES with these mirrored accounts. We broke out of the 1 minute candle and we're coming down to the 1618. But again, I'm just going to get out a little bit before the golden pocket of yesterday, right? Might take a little profit on the way down. I like to do that too. We'll see if we get a big break point on these candles where we can get at least a little bit. We're up like 300. I'm going to lock in one because we just made a $240 click down. There we go. I got one riding. One ES riding. We're going to go for the golden pocket. Should have left that Q's bang around there. So I got my order out to fill as called. 5532 pretty much here. That's the 1618 extension as well from the 1 minute. So I did lock in a little profit here in case this thing kicks back up to some of these GPs. That's when I usually re-enter. My stop zone for the scalp is going to be the bottom of the 1 minute candle like this. If the downside does not want to continue, we would get kicked out for a full hard open close above here for me. Because Q's is getting some easy support and ES kind of shoulda, woulda, coulda already down to the anchors. I don't like the speed here, so we might be slapping back up here a little bit. And we'll set up for the next short if we get kicked out. It's not a big deal. We already locked in 240. We're right at, break even's pretty close there. We already got the GP though, so let's worry about the 5 minute chart now. We got 45 seconds here, so that could be a long back up to the 5 minute GP. So what that looks like is I like to move to the 5 minute right when we're coming back in. We got 30 seconds to the 5 minute, and notice where the price action of the 5 minute is compared to where the first candle's high low is. So if this is the 5 minute high low, like this, generally speaking, I like that 1618 down there. We can get a 50 tag before it wants to go down. Tag short add for me, like right here. So tag short add would be that 50, and let's see if it gets it. And if it doesn't, it's fine because we're already at the 1 minute to the downside. If it wants to kick back out to the upside, it can. Just right to the GP, it's fine. It's not a big deal. It'll come up to the 50 and give us a 50 tag right here. So I'll play both sides here of NQ and ES. Order filled, boom. So again, we missed that 5 minute GP, so we should click back up here a little bit too. And if not, we already got a short one on. I'm looking to add into the GP here. Yep, first minute candle setting the tone. But the 5 minute didn't drop hard enough, so we're going to pop to short this right now. So right here, 5539.50 exit for that GP 5 minute. So right now I'm looking for the 5 minute high low, right? Because we finished the first 5 minutes to pop up to the GP right here, 5539.61. My order's out to fill 559.50. Another $100. Ding. Order filled. All right. So now we have 251.30 with no position open. So right here, no position open, 250 across all the linked accounts. And now the 5 minute has to come up, start slapping into the GP, and then we got to watch for continuation, which way each thing wants to go here. Because once it comes up to the 50 here, that's when the danger of the downside starts permitting, right? Because the GP of yesterday still needs a tag. We shied that 100 EMA, so we're looking for short entries up here into this channel of the 5 minute high GP. So all we did was GP high low and look for the first tag here and start shorting anything under. So I'm just going to get short again and walk her to that downside on ES. Once it breaks out of that, because we got the GP tag, so we don't have to worry about anything as far as you know, this blasting to outer space unless it's over the 50. So we're gonna walk it down now. We got under the 50, 2 GP is 10 points. It's not bad. So we'll see if it wants to tag up here a little bit to that 50. We already got the pocket tagged. Okay, that's the bottom. So remember, just because it didn't hit the 50, it doesn't mean you can't drop. It always hits the pocket. The pocket is the whole thing between 61.8 and 32, all right? The 50 being the most important tag, but we'll see. No, I only trade futures. Futures trades just like stock. I do short, long, goes instant fills, bid asks, just like an equity does. So we got that tag, so now it's downsided to here. Remember, 10 points to the downside here. Okay, we're breaking down. I got my ES short, 55, 35, 75. So again, I'm going for that live tag on the bottom right here. It's going to come down to the 100 EMA. Might take another 100 scalp here. We'll see, because that 100 EMA is real strong. And we didn't get anywhere speed that I wanted to through that, but we'll see. Because that 5 minute might hold us up here. That 100 EMA, that's why we use the 100 EMA. It's the best moving average in the world, in my opinion. We'll see if she cracks a little bit, gives us a little sauce. That's pretty crazy to miss the GP by 2 points. So we'll see. No big deal either way. So 2 points is just barely at 100 off the low. So if I do 1 point under that, it'd be a 5532 cover. It'd be like that. If we get that GP tag that I want to see. But if the 100 EMA stops us, whatever. If not, we're green, doesn't matter. I think we're close enough to magnet that GP for 1 minute here, but we'll see. I like the Topstep X platform, yeah. We already got the GP retest here. The first one was at 5539. The whole thing is the channel, is the GP. We didn't get a 50 tag, but we got a golden pocket tag. The whole thing for me is the pocket. So I'm just looking. We got a little equal lows here, a lot of support coming in there at 5532, but she could get sucked up to that 50 again. It doesn't really matter to me. We have the green because we usually BE stop these because we don't want to give back anything, right? As we slowly, we take Sundays a lot slower than normal, but this candle actually to the downside fib might be important. Should have had that on. Yeah, 3618 is target. That's cool. I'll take that. Yeah, we just got to break that 100 just a smidge, get that little 50 tag. And if the 100 holds it, that means we're going to get kicked back up. It's all up to the 100 EMA right now. We're on the 5 minute. We get the second candle just about done. We got one more new one. If that starts to open up above into the GP range and over the 100 EMA, might just stop out for now and then wait for the counter trend down there. But if it likes to put in some speed weakness here, we'll get a fill at 5532 like we have on. So again, I'm always out a little bit early too. You know, if I expect the 3820 tag right here, I'm gonna cover out, you know, a couple ticks away. Oop. So on and so forth. See, that's a Topstep X scam right there. No fill. See the perfect tag level there? Jerks. So I'm gonna get out right away because they just no-filled me. All right, 2 scalps done. We're up 411 times 3 and 1,000 on the other. $2,200 open so far. Pretty good. So just filled off that one because Topstep X, I don't like when they no-fill me like that. So I got out right away, as you just seen. I'm not a fan of holding through the Topstep X no-fills. We still should go down to the GP, but anything's possible, right? Market does whatever it wants, no matter what. This first tag to that GP is the best. Yeah, Topstep loves to run into my levels and never fill me. It's okay though. I filled it. Yeah, I filled it. It's 400. We just showed the P&L. It's 411 times 3 plus our other 1,000. So we're good. No trades open now. $1,200 on one grouping. 1,000 on that single. I think. Did I just pass this one for my payout? I wasn't even paying attention. Did I hit my 20% consistency on this thing? Let me go look if I get $4 grand right now. Dashboard, payout, go to metrics. Of course not, right? 20.67%. Interesting. Do I need to make more? I have $5 grand in this account now. I'm 100% accurate on this one. Thousand, 972, 972, 994, 1,000. We got $5 grand almost in this piece. Take care, buddy. Step down. Yeah, sometimes they don't like to fill. If I don't get no fills like that, I get a weird, the heebie-jeebies, and I'm like, I'm out, taking my profit. I would rather just, that was linked 3 accounts, so that's $500 in 2 seconds. I'd much rather put that in my pocket than, well, maybe it'll come back down and Topstep. They know, man. No way. The brokers know. So no way I'm gonna give them my moolah. Hitting that 10 SMA to the downside here yet on NQ. She's still, I wouldn't say struggling, but she's getting real close to that GP, that golden pocket there. So both of them are within dump range. So we call that shying a lot of my channel if you guys are new here. So whenever we get those shies, price action comes down to that GP and whatnot. Almost wants to hit it and then reclaims. Like the 100 EMA holds temporarily. We'll get a back test like the 50 up here, maybe even the 10 SMA 5 minute, and that'll be our next downside. So again, like we said, we're out of this one and we will watch. Still need a 50 tag on this 5 minute. What's NQ's 5 minute looking like here? No 100 EMA tag? We shot that. Interesting. We have a 1 minute no GP on 07 there. We got this trade done, this trade done. Let's see here. Yeah, I think a little upside is in order. That's why we got out of the short. There you go. 100 EMA held, shied the 3820s. Same scam we see daily. Now coming back up. Flush it, I hope. I wish. I had to get out of that one just because there's a little too much mix. We might be waiting for the 10 SMA to catch back up here. I just didn't like that 100 EMA 5 minute hold. The MACDs are really good to the downside. It's not like it's not going to go down. It's just going to take its time because nothing goes in a straight line, right? So a couple candles here, back forth, kind of messing with you a little bit. It's not uncommon. But we'll see. Order filled. We love that. Just did 1,071 on that one. Did an NQ scalp off that? That was way too fast to try and call for you guys. I'm just going to lock this account out right here at 1,071. Done. We'll deal with that one later, tomorrow or Tuesday. We're waiting for the downside to reappear for the next scalp. We're inside the 5 minute range candle, so obviously it's a little tougher to assume we're going to get the good trades. Yep, pretty much, Rob. Oh, thanks, Royal Trades. Appreciate it, man. YouTube algo suggested your stream between your comments about politics being nothing but a show in your trading style. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it is kind of just a big act, right? We're still saying short, guys. Anything under this GP, just under the Fibby here, I'm gonna look for that retrace. We're gonna look for a good entry down to our box. Okay, so we're still gonna carry the same sentiment here. The MACDs are looking really good downsided here. The only bad part is yeah, there's not a lot of momentum. The 100 EMA is going to stop you always. And we always use ES, even when I'm trading NQ, oddly enough. A lot of the times I'll focus way more on what the market on SPY is doing. That's the real market. I still think short. We're just traveling. The MACD is looking really good. We're just into that zero line. So I'm going to grab another short here myself. 5535. And I'm gonna walk this one down to the GP, I think, because I'll be able to manage, even if it pops back around for the gap, that's fine. But I expect our first tag right here, so I think we're gonna get a wick down. I'm gonna put my order out again and just play the minute range here. And I'll have to manage it if so. So short at 5535 again. So if we just make another whatever down to the 3618, great. If it goes up to GP or whatnot at 50, I'll just manage it. I'm not worried any bit about what we can't, because when the 10 SMA catches back up here on the 5-minute too, I'm just going to keep adding. If we take a static small position size, I give myself 20 points a range, you know, especially in the accounts that can handle it. We're not going to worry about any of that. North Korea confirms troop deployment to Russia. North Korea, our troops made an important contribution to liberation of Russia territory occupied by Ukraine. Okay. North Korea news there. I didn't really see that coming. Not on the bingo card for today. Yeah, so we're still looking for just our little gold level tag, and if we shy it, we're gonna come back down later. So I'm not too worried about it either way. We got an anchor catch up needed up there. We got a 50 tag, and as long as it's defending the 5-minute, you guys aren't short. I don't want you guys getting beat up here too bad. That NQ magnet to that 100 EMA is looking kind of good too. But I'm in management here. We'll see. I'm just gonna let it run. It doesn't matter what it does. We'll look for the next 5-minute candle. If it holds the 100 EMA, we know for a fact it'll go up. So doesn't matter to me either way. I'm just gonna. ES is so slow, and the VIX has been coming down, so it's a lot more controlled here. 500. Yep. Compared to the QQQ, I always use the SPY. I never want to worry about 500 versus 100. I'm always going to choose 500. Why do you think we choose a weekly over a daily chart when we're drawing our Fibonacci or using moving averages that are close? A weekly is going to provide us with a stronger support resistance, just like 500 stocks is going to tell us more than 100 stocks. Don't want to seem slow. Can you explain how this is possible? Which part, my friend? Up 3 points off GP. Nice. Yeah, we're closing that 15. I'm still short. I'm just it's a tiny scalp, man. I don't go crazy. It's another 150. If we hit 3 for 3, we'll be done. That'll be about just under $3,000 in 30 minutes. Like, I don't need more than that. I'll be done for that, and I'm gonna go hang out with the kiddos. Is it movie night, dudes? No, that's because you want to play on your computer. That's all. Let's go. Here's that 5-minute. We're looking for it to get out. The MACD is the only thing keeping me in the short. So my favorite indicator, the MACD, is it's helping me out. It might be a little bit of a pop, but it might be a little snap back and forth, but I'm not too worried about it. We got some good anchor defense coming down here too, I think. It's not for a bit yet, so we could pop. It's just the anchor's got to catch up. It's just if it wants to give us it or not. Oh, excuse me. Book map? No, I never look at that stuff. Too easily manipulated, in my opinion. That's like level 2s and time of sale stuff. People can put and pull orders all at once. I just use a price level. I'm slow, man. I'm not very savvy. I come on here, I look at support resistance, I look at a MACD, and I can be consistent. I don't need any intra-market details to do that. I like Fibonacci because it's not really an indicator. It's literally the causation of life if you look at the golden ratio and Fibonacci. So that's my main numero uno. My bestie in the market is Fibs. I don't need anything else. But what the computers are doing for first tag metrics, notice that little first tag, little text there. That's what an algo magnet looks like to me. So the whole algo magnet today was fib out the 5-minute high-low, watch it go down to the 100, back to the GP, and then continue the flush down here to that 50 is what's most likely. But the first tag, because I'm a scalper, so I'm only going to go from GP or 10 SMA up there down. So whenever it comes back up, I'm going to come down here for this little golden, and that would net me 5 down, 10 up, 4 down. That's 15 points on ES for 3 trades of about 3 grand. So it's the only scalps I need. Bookmap is hard for me to. I've tried to look at stuff like that, but it's just doesn't make any sense to me. It's so much easier just look at a price level and a couple candles for me. Yeah. Enki wants to retest Friday's point of control 1940. I could definitely see that. I agree. I like POCs. Good volume control there. I would not contest that one bit. And down to that, it's the 100 EMA anyway. So that POC, if we test and hold, we're going to come for those opening gaps, and that's the only bad. So you don't want to be short and lows down here. Like we already had a couple really nice trades, so we're not in subject to be losing anything down here. Even if we pop, which again is more common, we'd be holding the 100 EMA. It's more common that the MACD kind of gets out of its own way and goes, no, I'm going to pop up here because that's going to give us our real short entry, because nothing goes in a straight line. So what's better than to scam all the chase shorters that go down here for a one pop to come down then? So your best case entry to be building accounts, to be trading small accounts, is only waiting for that pop. I'll be able to manage, for us, like down to GP from here, 13 down to gap fill is like 14 up. A 1-to-1 is no problem managing here for that. And we're so close to that. It's a double gap. I don't know. Let's see if we get all the way up there. We'll go back and forth. We're almost done with the 30-minute. We didn't get any good opens here. This is a slow open. A lot of the time we're up big, but kind of slow today. That's all right. You see 1,000 orders on futures, the tops, the bottoms. Yeah, and that's one of the things. Like, there's definitely use cases, for the bookmap. But dude, just because they have rules in place about scamming the algorithms of the markets, they hate when us retail scams the algos, and we put in a 10,000 contract or pull it, then put it. I accidentally did that a couple times on my main account where they sent me warnings like, quit trying to manipulate the futures market, because I accidentally had 100 contracts on because I hit the wrong button for 10. And I pulled it right away, obviously, twice, and it was a fat finger. And they were like, "Oh, you're trying to manipulate." I'm like, "Dude, I'm just dumb. Like, I just hit the wrong button. Leave me alone. I'm not trying to manipulate anything." They want to be like pops and see 1,000 or future NQ held over the 100. Yeah, I would expect upside here more than downside. Like I said, don't short this. Don't follow me. I'm expecting a pop to add for that 50 because we have see there's a little green right there. We're expecting upside. I've just it's fat finger, man. I wish I could manipulate the market with thousands of contracts. There's a guy in UK that did that or something like that. He got in trouble for it. It was kind of cool to see, in my opinion. It's pretty sweet, to be honest. But nothing for me to do. I'm a small time just the dude doing dude stuff on the internet's hanging out with some charts. Yeah, we defended and shied that 100 EMA. Again, this is why SPY is king. ES, you see just beautiful 100 EMA hits. You look over your QQQ, look at your 100 EMA 5-minute. Scamola. If you're looking for a short right there, you got schmacked. So she'll probably come up here. We held the 5-minute for too long. We're done with the 15. We're inside. You don't want to be short. He's one of us. Sore losers. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many things that I could bring up, in the grand scheme of things there, but what's the point? Qs would be a good trade. You got 19,500. It's a pretty big over under. If this kicks up to yesterday's close, we go for the gap fill that we're talking about up here. It's going to be a long. Above VWAP, most likely. Be like right here. Got to be able to buy a swap on the fly. That's what I do anyway. I like it. So we'll get a little peek into that 50, I think, pretty soon here. We got a 5-minute no GP, our last one right there again. High-low fib. Is that a 5-minute gap? Ooh, that's a free trade. Got to get out. 5-minute gaps don't exist. That's fallacy right there. See that 5-minute gap? That'll fill. That's a free trade on NQ. Limit by 2 on the gap line. So whatever this does, it's actually going to come down. No matter what. When is the key. Don't just short ray or all willy-nilly and have to hold through the pop. But that 5-minute gap, it's a slim gap. See that little indicator right there? Candle to candle. That'll fill immediately. Boom, order filled. It'll fill immediately, just like that. It's not a whole lot of points, but you know, 5. And somehow, how did I lose money on that? I was up 358. Now I'm down 314 after a green trade. Oh, okay. Topstep stuff. Troops made important pay. I already read that news here. Yeah, it's normal. Hate us because they ain't us. It's not like they're going to be able to beat me in the long term, so I'm not worried about it. There's that long push we're talking about. Watch those 50 tags. Almost to that 50. We got one of them. 2 of them filled. We're back up. Oh, we're lagging on the copier. The copier is scamming me. We're up 450, 450, and 400. They scam me out of 50. That's why it looked funny down there. Because we have these linked accounts right here, and they stopped out at that 451. We just longed NQ for that scalp up and got my 150 back, but this jerk didn't give me any credit on the link. North Korea, man, that's a weird one. GP hit NQ, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's another one. I have so many charts in 15. I can't possibly show you guys every little thing. It sucks, you know, having all these monitors. But like I said, though, if it holds that 5-minute lower, don't bother being short, man. I can easily manage my ES up to this gap fill up here, and that's what most likely will happen, pending 10 SMA. Because remember, right here, that's the next tag short, right here. I'll remove it, but we made this zone for the holy moly, 51st tag. So the likelihood of a little downside there is fine. NQ is getting that 10 SMA love as well. First little 10 SMA tag. I'm going to scalp again right here. Just because I do what I do. These are too quick. I hyper scalp a lot of things, so wait for that anchor for any kind of real positionals. The top down anchor is that 1535 we talked about there. Yeah, I do need rest. I'm only trying to trade this last anchor. That's it. I gotta get out of here. We're gonna go. You movie. You guys hungry, dudes? Hey, nerds. You guys hungry? Nah. Okay. You guys want treats? Thought you said you weren't hungry. I just messing with you. Go get some snacks. Watch a movie in a little bit. Okay. Yeah, we'll see this one. This anchor will come up here and we'll get this little first tag. Like I said, don't short anything here. We're going to go up for this gap fill here. Get a nice push. That's what I'm talking about. Nerds, yeah. You gotta love the kiddos, man. Gotta razz them up a little bit. We're starting 2 5-minute no GPs there. That's a rarity. We might come down a little bit here, but now it's up to the GPs. Oop, I gotta get a fill here? Fill. Order filled, finally. All right. Oh, we got scammed on the last one again. Okay, I just shorted that top GP tag. I'm just shorting the quick in-betweens here, guys. Tank, anchor. That'd be it for me. I need some sleep and some, like they're saying. But there's the P&Ls. It's 1,500, even though Topstep scammed me out of 50 bucks. 1,500 there, 1,000 the other. 2,500 bucks. 30 minutes of trading. We like it. We like it. Oh. All right, set you guys up with a little knowledge before I leave here. What we're going to be talking about here. That's how you talk to your board, Callie. That's good. That's good. You're going to be watching for the GP tag here, guys, and the red sentiment is still the overall for you guys. I think she's going to get a little higher here. So the only 2 danger zones we'll go over. So you guys want structure, okay, not guessing. So I want you guys to see if price action sticks under the 10 SMA, get that GP short. If we go over it and pop, wait for the gap fill, yesterday's close, Then watch direction, a little different, because if it does a hard squeeze over the close, it's going to go for the gap we talked about earlier for the potential gap fill. So watch this one up here for that daily. We'll do that. So if we get that up there, 555, that'll be over yesterday's close only. It's that white dash line there. It's auto calculated. And then if we do come up to here, that opening range, that's going to be the deciding factor, I think. So watch it push back up. Your best case scenario is staying under the 10 SMA. Watch for the structure, though. Don't just guess if it's going to stay under the 10. Watch it kind of snap back up and get lazy under the 10, right? And then start focusing on this 50. Watch for 5520. 21. Okay. If you back up here a little bit, we do have some bigger, like we discussed as well, 5-minute no GPs that I think will be tactical. Those line up right now with the 200 SMA 5-minute. So let this thing pop up, structure, break back down, get a little bit of lower high setup next, and then go for those GPs. I think you'll be able to get that. If she wonks out over yesterday's close only to that daily gap fill, that's what I would look for you guys. Don't forget. Oh, you're right. I got to give away some stuff. You are. Oh, thank you for the reminder. We got money to give away. Let's give away some stuff. I would have had to give away a bunch next, huh? Anybody that commented on any video this week is eligible, and you got to be subscribed. Thank you for reminding me, random comment picker. We got 2 accounts to give out. All right, we're going to do Monday's video just real quick here. So I'm going to take my YouTube video, and anybody who commented on Monday's video here, oh, it might not have been, oh, let me go look. You had to have commented on any of them. Well, we can do Fridays or Thursdays. Thursdays is good too. Big force update. Let's just use this one. You had to comment on all of them. That was your only chance. So, all right, this is what we like to do. Comment picker V. What's up, baby? You want help? Okay. You want some fruit? Heck yeah. We're gonna give away some accounts real quick. Okay. You ready? Are you ready? Want to say hi? You say hi. In the mic.
Hi.
All right, we're going to give away some accounts to the people that support us. We're going to come down. We got to do some math. We're going to get YouTube comments. We got 23 comments. We're going to scroll down here. First account, who's got her? $50 giveaway. What's up, guys? Sphinx, my man. We like Sphinx. Great trader. Give him a follow on X. Click his YouTube profile. He does calls on X. I don't know if he runs a service or not, but he's a really good guy. Posts a lot of good trade ideas of his own. Fibonacci on X. But my man Sphinx, you win, brother. Reach out to me on X. You obviously follow each other. We're friends. Hit me up, buddy. I don't know if you're still here, but I'll have to reach out to you on X. That's winner chicken dinner number 1. What do we just refresh this and do it again, right? Yeah. Cool. Sphinx for the first. What's the next one? Pick another winner. Yep. All right, one more. Sphinx trading from my buddy on X. The second winner. Ronaldo, 5847. Angel, cool. Congrats, my friends. Thanks, B it is. Please reach out to me on X. Send me a private message, or if you're in the Discord, hit me up. And do that. Worst case scenario, email me. Emails on the YouTube. Or comments. If you can't get hold of me, just comment on the YouTube, okay? Say, tell them comment and subscribe right now. Like the video. Go ahead, say comment and subscribe. Oh, thank you, baby. Good job. All right, my friends. Those are the 2 winners. Congrats. Thanks again. Congrats, my friends. Congrats. I don't know if you guys are in here or not. I can't see the names popping up here. It doesn't look like it. But let's go, friends. All right, guys. Time to get some rest. Appreciate you guys. Much love. We'll see my chat tomorrow morning. Let's say goodbye. Say bye, guys. Oh, you're going to wave too? All right, guys. Thanks again. Take care.